Okay, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like your name is more than just a name? I mean, what if it's actually a secret script for your life? A hidden code that's been quietly shaping who you are, the choices you make, everything. Well, today we're going to find out. You've probably seen quotes like this all over the internet, right? This really captivating idea that who we are is somehow pre-written in the stars, or maybe just in the calendar. It's a fun thought, but what if the real code isn't in our birth date, but in something we hear every single day? And that is the big question we're diving into. Forget astrology, forget numerology for a minute. We are heading straight into the world of psychology to find out if there's any real science behind this idea. The idea that your name actually has a say in who you become. Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, our investigation starts with a genuinely strange scientific finding. I'm talking about a study that suggests we can actually guess a total stranger's name just by looking at their face. I know, it sounds completely impossible, right? But it's true. Back in 2017, researchers at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem did exactly this. They ran a bunch of tests where they showed people photos of strangers, people they had absolutely never met, and gave them a multiple choice list of names, asking them to pick the right one. And the results were, well, they were fascinating. You see, if it was all just random luck, with 4 name options, you'd expect people to get it right about 25% of the time. Simple statistics. But that is not what happened. People were actually guessing the correct name 30% of the time. Now, I know what you're thinking. 5%, that's not a huge difference. But in the world of statistics, that's a really big deal. It's what's called a statistically significant finding. It means something real is going on here. It strongly suggests that people are matching faces to names way better than they should be. And it hints that somehow we actually grow to look like our names. And that brings us to the core mystery, doesn't it? Our names are given to us at birth, long before anyone knows what we'll look like or how we'll act. So how on earth is it possible for our face to grow to fit our name? It seems completely backward. But believe it or not, science has some answers. So let's unpack this. We're going to look at 3 key psychological concepts that help explain how something as simple as a name can have such a huge impact on us. Okay, first up, we have something called implicit egotism. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually super simple. Our brains are basically wired to like things that remind us of ourselves. It's like we have a little internal fan club, and that includes a special preference for the letters that make up our own name. And this isn't just a theory. It shows up in the real world in some pretty weird ways. Get this. Studies have found that people named Dennis are way more likely to become dentists than you'd expect by chance. People named Louis are more likely to move to St. Louis. It's not that they're consciously thinking about it. It's just this tiny, unconscious pull toward things that feel familiar. All right, the second piece of the puzzle is something called the Booba/Kiki effect. Now, this one is all about how sounds have shapes. Seriously, the sound of a word or a name can instantly create an image or feeling in our minds, and we then attach that feeling to the person before we even know them. Just think about it. Say the name Molly or Owen. They have these soft, rounded sounds, right? And we tend to associate them with people who are kinder, maybe more approachable. Now compare that to Kirk or Eric. Those names have sharp, hard sounds, and we often perceive them as belonging to people who are more energetic, maybe more disciplined. We're making a judgment purely based on the sound. And that leads us to the final and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle. It's called the Pygmalion effect, or social expectation. And it's this incredibly powerful idea that we tend to become what other people expect us to be. It's a classic self-fulfilling prophecy. So here's how it all connects. Society has these unconscious stereotypes attached to names, partly because of that Booba/Kiki sound effect. A Kirk might be subtly encouraged to be more assertive, while a Molly might get positive feedback for being gentler. Over years and years, this constant tiny bit of social pressure from teachers, friends, everyone, it shapes our behavior, our choices, even our facial expressions. And eventually, we literally grow into our name. Okay, so we've looked at the science, which is pretty wild. But what does all of this actually mean for you in your life? How can you use this information now that you know about this subconscious script? Well, I think the biggest takeaway is this. Your name isn't some kind of inescapable destiny that's set in stone,
but it is a powerful set of subconscious suggestions. It's been influencing how you see yourself and how others see you since the day you were born. So if you want to understand its power, you can really think of it in 3 steps. First, just recognize those little internal biases, that implicit egotism we talked about. Second, understand the instant perceptions other people might have just from the sound of your name. And finally, just acknowledge the societal expectations that might have been gently nudging you in a certain direction your whole life.
See, once you understand these forces, you're not just an actor reading lines anymore. You get the power to actually edit the script. So the real question isn't what your name has in store for you. The real question is, now that you know the script, what are you going to write next?